Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Schnozzcast. Your regular hosts for this episode are the usual gang of idiots. What are their names?
Speak for yourself.
It's Cory, Todd, Nick, and Bob. How's that?
Much better.
There you go.
Much better.
Because I feel like you wanted to make sure my name was last in that list.
No, that wasn't the point.
I still don't know what the point is, but that's fine.
Neither do I.
All right, so what do we got for you today? We're going to do a little airing of grievances. And we are currently brainstorming about what the last segment's going to be, so it could be a surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Nick ain't the only one who does imitations around here. So maybe
Todd Dillon,
should.
Man of 3 impressions.
Thank you very much.
3 more than Bob has.
Todd, how are you, sir? How are you, sir?
I am well, sir. Thank you.
Excellent. Nick Bader, how are you?
Doing fantastic, and you, sir?
I'm well, and finally, which is usually it's the opposite of what we normally do, shaking it up this week. Cory, how are you?
Oh, craziness.
Fantastic.
I didn't really answer how I was doing.
No,
Okay.
it's craziness. You're doing craziness. You're crazy in the craziness.
Yeah, apparently.
If you are new to the podcast, thank you for joining us. If you're returning, welcome back. And you can find us out here. You can go back and listen to previous episodes out on streaming services on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else where you can get a podcast. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Schnozzcast. If you want to email us, you can always catch us at Schnozzcast. That's SCHNOZZ at gmail.com, or you can call or text us anytime at 618-SHOCKER.
The Shocker Line.
Shocker.
Baby.
Hang on. Nick's trying to silently relay something to me about something that's going on.
What I'm trying to say is I don't know why the Funkos you gave me are so askew. Some of them look like they've moved forward a little bit.
That's what you
I'm
were
so
trying
glad
to
that
point
we
out.
tried to derail the entire podcast for that reason.
I was like, what the fuck? It was like the internet out is
They
what's
should
going
all
on.
be in line.
I thought something was on fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, my Funkos aren't quite lined up the way that they were the last time I
They're
looked at them.
upsettingly askew.
I have not touched them.
No, I
so
know, but perhaps
they're coming live.
Yeah, at night Frasier seems to be in the lead. So
This is probably the most important thing we could be kicking off this episode.
Yeah, they're off by millimeters.
Yeah.
inches.
All right. So speaking of important distractions, if you are new to the podcast and have never listened before, we generally do a couple of shots during the show, and we're going to do the one right now. So Todd,
Yes,
you
sir.
got one to join us. What are you drinking tonight, buddy?
I do. Oh, yeah. I thought you'd never ask. I'm drinking for my shot a little cherry berry pucker fucker. And for my beer, I'm drinking Rogue Brewing's Bat Squatch Hazy IPA.
I feel like whenever Todd drinks, his beer always has a Squatch in the name somewhere. Bat Squatch.
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
What? How did you come up with Bat Squatch before you thought of Sasquatch?
Because he just said Bat Squatch.
Yeah, but
I did.
How did I come up with it? I just heard it. I didn't come up with it.
well, I would have thought that Sasquatch would have been the
It might have been had I not just heard Bat Squatch.
Bat Squatch, Cat
Rogue
Squatch,
Brewing.
Dog Squatch.
I see we've gone from chewing gum on the show to eating on camera and directly in the microphone.
You can't hear that.
I hear, yes. Nick, you want to tell him what it sounds like from our end?
Who is the band that sings the song? Or at the beginning, it's remember like in like I think maybe early
Jefferson Starship,
early 2000s. They had
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
bunch of tattoos. They were kind of like metal-ish.
Metallica.
Like, he who makes a
Jethro
beast
Tull.
out of himself. They start
Iron
the
Maiden.
song. God, what the fuck was the name of this? The song was Bat Country. The name of the song was Bat Country.
Bat Country?
Avenged Sevenfold?
Yes. It sounded like when he said Bat Squatch, it sounded like an Avenged
I didn't say
Sevenfold
Bat.
song.
I just repeated Bat Squatch. It wasn't me.
Bat Squatch.
Bat Squatch.
Not Bat
Todd's
Squatch.
drinking Bat Squatch.
Bat
We're all out
Squatch
over the
by
place.
Rogue Brewing.
Let's
It's
do
very good.
another
Hazy
shot.
IPA.
That'll help.
That'll
us.
help, yeah.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
I like Avenged Sevenfold.
Salute.
I wasn't a big fan.
No?
Whatever period of time that occurred in which they were on the rise and they hit their apex and everybody loved them and everybody knew their songs, and then they disappeared into Oblivion. I missed that entire thing.
It wasn't hard to miss.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was
feel so
a
good.
little confused when he
I
said
missed the entire thing.
when he said period time. I thought he was going to go on about talking about raising a daughter. So I didn't know what exactly.
Oh, goodness.
What the fuck, man?
Oh, goodness.
I didn't.
We went all the way
know.
left.
I
We
heard
went all the way
something
left.
You
different.
didn't know, so in your head, that's where you went?
I'm just saying.
Oh, my
That's all I
goodness.
heard. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
Suspect.
I'm not sure where to take that from here.
I know. No.
Where can we take that from here? Let's see if I can use the board to get us off this topic onto the airing of grievances.
Use kids
Yes,
in your
sir.
complicated shoes.
I like the long version.
Is there a long version?
Yes.
Where is it? Oh, it's this one.
Festivus begins with the
Yeah, that's about it.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Perfect. Just enough
Exactly.
All right, Todd, go ahead
Exactly.
with
I
your,
love it.
What's sticking in your crowd this week? And please make sure that none of those things are what I just did with the mixer.
They are not. And this week, I gotta take a company to task, and I typically don't do that. I typically take to task behaviors that us human beings inflict upon one another. But this time, I gotta knock a company, especially being that I've been anti this company for a long time. Honda Motors. I just recently, along with my wife, purchased a brand new vehicle from them. Top of the line, every feature, everything that you could imagine, fully decked out to the nines. Van for the dogs.
A dog
Man.
van?
Dog van. The Honda Odyssey.
Do you have room in your garage for another vehicle?
I had to build another garage. Anyway, this car has what I thought was going to be really good. And Japanese automakers, their number one thing is their quality. These motherfuckers sold us a van that after 2 days of rain with the doors all shut, the back end, the storage area filled up and the back end got wet. And I'm like,
man.
how does that happen? And it gets worse. My real complaint isn't even that they had some sort of gasket failure that led to rain in a fully closed back door, wetting the bottom of the storage area. But these sons of bitches wouldn't give my wife a loaner car when we took it in to fix their fucking problem. I ended up paying 2 days for a loaner.
I've always had a
This is some
Ford. And I've
bullshit.
never had any of those problems, but just saying.
I can't buy Ford because that boy was in mine conf. But anyway, I'm just saying Honda, you failed me. You failed me. You failed me. You failed me. And don't make the customer pay. And literally, if I had the car for like a year and a half, I'd get it. We bought this car less than a month ago. It has less than 1,000 miles on it. Their defect wet the car, and then they made me pay for a rental.
That's bullshit.
I'm not down with that. Honda, eat a dick.
Yeah, that's
Eat a
fucking
dick.
bullshit.
That's a quality review.
Oh, and as you guys know, this episode
you.
is sponsored by Honda.
No, Mitsubishi.
Go places.
Actually, Toyota made me better.
Yeah, just as long as it's not raining.
Keep it in a dry place.
Yep.
That's all that's in your craw, Todd?
Why? Why would
Seriously, dude. We're going to hear about the airplane and the first class. Come on.
Dude, exactly. I got on a plane again, was in first class again, and I was in 2F, and the lady's like, "Would you like the braised beef for dinner, or the veggie bowl, or the cheese plate?" And I'm like, "I'll take the braised beef." We're all out of the braised beef, and I'm like, "Bitch, I'm in row 2. How the fuck can you be out of the beef? There's like 3 more rows behind me, and you're out of the beef? How many vegetarians are there? Come on."
She sounded like she had some sort of infection of the larynx.
Dude, I can't believe it. I'm like, I'm in the second row, and they're already, because everybody's like, would you like the beef? I'll take the beef.
I'm
You don't
sorry.
want the Southwest Veggie Bowl?
I'm
Hell
sorry.
no, I don't want the Southwest Veggie Bowl.
I'm sorry, sir. The captain was very hungry.
Do you ever ask
Yeah.
yourself before you go and launch into these segments as whether or not people are going to view your grievances as being
Elitist.
yes?
Well, that's not what it's meant.
No, I know it's
I don't
not
know
what
that
you
everybody
mean.
else. Wait a minute. Our whole audience might fly first class more than me. How do I know that? I'm not judging anybody.
So I knew we were trying to go for 1,000 followers, but I didn't know we were trying to go for 1,000 first class followers.
Oh,
just
so
stick to
I
the
have
regular-
to. So I have to go. I have to break them down into. Wait, the Honda beef was a common man beef, wasn't it?
I don't know.
But I thought
It
that
feels
you
like
had
it
to
was.
build an entirely new garage to house this vehicle, so I'm not sure that's true.
so did the Honda beef
You're the one who led me there.
did the Honda beef segue into the lack of beef on the plane? Is that how that worked out?
Bob wanted to fill time, clearly, and he wanted me to beef about more stuff. And I'm like, I go to things that are familiar to me. You want to hear about the time of the hockey game when the lady spilled my drink on the floor and I'd be rating her for 2 hours?
I kind of do.
I'm trying to connect with my fellow human
With
beings.
the common man. With
I'm
the
a common man. I'm a
trying to
common man
connect
like all you.
as an
I'm a
elitist with
common
the
man
common
like
man.
everybody else.
No.
I put my shoes on 2 at a time like everybody else.
My butler put my shoes on one at a time, just like everybody else.
Todd, did you ever
Exactly.
watch Frasier?
I did.
Did
And
you
thank
like it?
Jesus Christ, this guy's got it tough.
Did you like the show?
I did. Should I
Yeah.
not have?
No, I
No, I did.
absolutely
I did. I thought-
loved I absolutely love the show, and it's very much rich man problems, but it was often said to be the most intelligent show on television.
Much like our podcast, the most intelligent podcast
Yeah.
available on the internet.
But I feel like there's a lot of rich man problems on Frasier that you would probably appreciate.
Well, here's the thing, though. So let's to be clear, Rich. The only reason that I fly first class is not because I spring for first class tickets all the time. That I fly a ton for work, and so I'm zipping around in places I don't want to be all the time. And so ultimately, there's a little bit of a benefit there. But ultimately, when I was traveling 150,000 miles a year, again, first world problems, I get it, but
Yep.
it's not like there's not little pain in there as well, which is why I beef about those things. Takes a lot to get to the front of the bus.
You're being forced to go to
Exactly. Takes a lot to get to the front of the bus. I'm just saying that.
Oh, that's probably true. All right.
I wouldn't know.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Let's move on to. I just want to cover something. This is something that a segment that we haven't
You're
really
welcome,
done
Bob.
for. You're welcome. A segment that we haven't done for a while called Mixtape Mashup.
Mm-hmm.
We have no theme song for it or intro. However, this is
We
a
don't?
segment. Get on that, Todd. This is a segment in which Nick Bader has regaled us with and walked us through a listing of the top, XXX number of.
Porn. Apparently, it's porn.
Is that porn?
Did I, want, you,
This is
did I
a
use
porn
one too many
segment?
X's?
Yeah.
One X is
You did
a number that.
And when has he
that
ever
is
regaled?
random.
He's never regaled me.
3 X's is apparently porn.
1 X would be 10. 2 X's would, I think, be porn.
20.
And I think 3 X's, I'm
30.
dead. Yeah.
30.
So.
Yeah, 2 X's is above the belly button, right?
Why don't I just
Softcore.
take a step back here and let Nick introduce what he's going to do?
4 X's on top of each other would be a butthole. All right. So for this
actually-
installment,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bob. Did you want to touch
nope.
on the butthole?
Nope. Go ahead.
All right. So for
Don't want to touch it. I want to be inside of it.
Yes,
for this installment of
So far off to a bad start.
Mixtape Mashup, we've got the 50 most iconic vocal artists of all time per Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Okay?
please. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to start at number 50. There are
Okay.
paragraphs for each artist. We're not gonna bore you with that. We're just gonna
We're not?
rifle through some of these. No, if you have a question about the artist, I could delve into that. But right
Question
now,
or thoughts?
yeah, sure,
Impressions?
yeah. So we're gonna start at
What
number.
if they got it wrong?
They could absolutely get it wrong. But I would assume Rolling Stone, that's their business, so they probably know what's going on. So number 50,
You'd think Honda knew about fucking cars.
Joni Mitchell.
Gas.
Okay.
Joni Mitchell for number 50.
Got it.
Who?
Joni Mitchell. She did, Pave Paradise, put up a parking lot.
Joni Mitchell told us in
Okay.
1969 that the one day I found that I could sing low. At first, I thought that I would lost my voice forever. She didn't, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so she did Pay Paradise. Anyhow, so yes, I realized
You guys doesn't go on for a while. didn't you?
I realized that nothing interesting was coming
bad
from
idea.
Joni Mitchell. Yeah.
Bad idea.
Exactly.
49 is Sir Rod Stewart.
Oh, yeah, he's probably going to be in the top 50.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
Just
agree
for
with
the length of his career.
But I mean, you think,
Yeah.
first of all, how did Joni Mitchell make it into 50?
I think she's just she was very, very big at a time that was well before you.
Yeah.
Really sucky.
60s?
I think she had a pretty big impact on female singers in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. So we got Rod Stewart, who I think is just dynamite, just fucking knocked it out of the park. The guy had a lot of fucking hits. And that's surprising that, I mean, it's not surprising that he's in fit. I mean, this is like of all time. So I think that's
Right.
But to be next to Joni Mitchell, I don't know. So, but Rod
It's
Stewart
going to
is
be
fantastic.
what we got to see is who's going to get screwed by, who's ahead of him.
Yeah, who's in 48?
48. Let me just tell you, Tony Braxton.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm just gonna say. There's no way that I don't know much about Tony Braxton, but there's no way that she's a better she's
But
a
I
better
want to
singer.
talk on it.
There's no way she's a better singer than Rod Stewart. There's no way.
Todd.
I guess it's up to everyone's own personal opinion.
Well, of course, that's the whole purpose of the list, and this is all just to elicit responses.
And I got to give it to
outrage.
still Rod for longevity. I think Tony Braxton is a solid singer, but to make it into the top 50, I think she might be seated a little bit high. I got to see somebody else got screwed. I think Rod got screwed way more than this.
We'll say here, in her own words, my voice was always low, Tony Braxton told The Guardian in 2020. I remember everyone in class singing Joy to the World, and I was the only one who couldn't sing in the key. I was always the kid in the room that had the low voice that made everyone turn around. This R&B singer's voice still made people do a double take, but not because of what it can do. Instead of it's her smooth tone and ability to make everything the simplest sentiments smolder. Her blockbuster ballad Unbreak My Heart showcases the full extent of her vocal powers. But songs
It's a badass song.
But songs like the pensive Breathe Again show how she can slow burn emotion into a devastating effect. Her steely-eyed resolve only breaking when it's clear that the feelings are about to take her over. So apparently that's what they think. So,
What?
I think she's good. She's
didn't
good. I don't
understand
think
a
she's
word of
50,
what you just
top
said.
50 good. I did. She moved me, Bob.
All I know is Rod Stewart got screwed.
In front of her, Linda Ronstadt.
I think that's appropriate.
Think so?
Yeah.
The Queen of Country Rock.
Yeah, Linda Ronstadt. She had a pretty big impact on country and rock.
I'll give you that. I'm still going to pass.
Okay, so we're gonna go down. We're gonna go down to number 46, Mavis Staples.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I get it. I totally get it. Big in soul and religious music.
Incredible voice.
100%.
Yeah.
And for probably a longer career than Rod Stewart's.
Yeah.
It says as a
And
member.
the other piece too is most people don't know, or young people don't know her.
No. And they don't know the Staple Singers, which she was part of.
Yeah.
Her
it's
family.
So it says here, as a member of her family band, the Staple Singers, Mavis Staples injected the power of gospel exclamation into the pop charts. Just listen to her command on "I'll Take You There." On records she's made over the past 2 decades, Staples found her voice in more ways than one. Whether singing civil rights songs or working with sympathetic collaborations like Jeff Tweedy, she found the perfect framework for her instrument. But she also proved that voices can age in remarkable and expressive ways, reflecting a life that's been hard and had its shares of highs and lows. Staples imbues everything she consigned with experience, warmth, wisdom, and acceptance. So it looks like they're taking a lot more into consideration than just the vocals.
Yeah, than
I
just
think they're doing their job.
Their catalog. Yeah. So I like
putting
it.
the work
And
in.
I think Rod might be but be perfectly placed then.
Yeah, they're putting the work in
From the quality of his voice, because they're actually
Yeah.
talking about the subtleness and how the voices work, their voices as an instrument work. So
Yeah.
and how it ages.
I'm okay. Yeah. I'm
Listen,
okay with this.
If you're listening to this show,
Oh
going like,
my God!
what? Okay, hold on. Before you get to the next
Yeah.
one, if you're listening to the show and you're wondering, like, I thought this was going to be a comedy podcast. I thought these guys would be talking about humorous bullshit.
Most of the time,
We'll
yeah.
get to it.
I would quote Nick Bader from a recent episode in which he said that everything that we do, every part of our friendship, all four of us, has been circling around music, and
Certainly,
we have commonalities within music. We have areas that each of us has a unique take that probably nobody else has, something that they like that is kind of their bag, their wheelhouse. But there's also areas in which we intersect, and we talk about that a lot. And so if you take anything away from this episode, this particular segment, it is, we care a lot about music. And what if you hear Nick reading some of the excerpts from Rolling Stone's breakdown of the top 50 greatest singers of all time, it is, check out this singer, check out this song that he may be quoting, and see for yourself and let us know what you think.
And I think like
On the Shocker line, 24/7, 365.
618 Shocker.
618
Shocker.
That's right.
And I think the crazy thing is, obviously, I wish Todd was here with us after the show more often.
Oh, we'd be doing karaoke after the show,
Yeah.
100%.
But it absolutely, that's the one thing that really does. Movies are great and we all enjoy stuff like that, but I think music really kind of pulls us all together. It's something
Absolutely.
that we all can appreciate, and I love when you guys give me recommendations on songs and let me hear new things. And I can't speak for the group, but I think that's one thing that we all have in common. So, I mean, even when Todd was here, we're outside.
Yeah, we jammed out to all manner of stuff. Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
outside. We're inside. We're always listening.
There's
to
a
music.
lot of conversation about like, oh, play this, oh, play that. And like we were kind of giving control back and forth.
No one
You
was.
were
No one
to
was.
the speaker.
No one was ever like, oh man, no, I just turn it off. Let's just sit by the fire. Like we love music, like
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
So
we're a music podcast.
Yeah, and,
Well.
and you know what? We don't touch on that enough. I mean, we have
I know.
we have a specific segment about
We're too
movies.
busy being hilarious all the time.
Yeah.
We should really come back to music.
We have a specific segment
It's
on
fucking funny, guys.
on like shows and movies,
Yeah.
but the one thing that kind of brings us all together, like we don't really talk about that often, which is music.
We'll have to have a production meeting about this.
So this one,
Yes, indeed.
That I don't cancel the lesson.
this one is near and dear to my heart. If anyone thinks that like country and rock are the only things I listen to, then this should be a surprise to you. But number 45 from Rolling Stones is Ella Fitzgerald, who is a fucking
Oh yeah.
knockout.
Oh yeah.
She is.
I'm surprised
fucking-
she's that high.
She is wonderful. I would figure she would be
agreed.
much lower, and lower is better in
Yeah,
this
but
list.
but actually, but at the end of the day, I think this list is going to get really given the criteria. It seems
It's going to
this
get
is
competitive.
packed. This is packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty eloquently said. It says voices change. That's what aging does. But although Ella Fitzgerald's style deepened, her voice gained in character and her phrasing and in perception. Her voice itself generated the illusion of youthfulness for decades, all the way from her 60s. What a run. Fitzgerald's famously precise enunciation was right there from her first recording in 1938's A Tisket with Chick Webb's orchestra. But if rock-raised ears may find Fitzgerald's portrait painter precision a mite proper, Jesus Christ.
That's a tough paragraph to get
Yeah.
through. I feel for you, my friend.
That's deep. That's
the
deep.
very
A lot of
grain,
alliteration.
the very grain of her voice is always wonderfully earthy. She's sensuous, learned, and spry, and she's worth hearing in every phrase of her career. And I think, I mean, that is very
Love it.
eloquently
I love
said.
it.
I mean, her voice, anytime I heard
I'm sorry.
her, it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. 100% agree. 100% agree. You know what? And now I have a prediction. You know who's going to be in the top 5 is Aretha Franklin, I think.
You think so?
I think she's gonna crack the top 5.
I do because the one thing when you hear other singers talk about her voice, she was able to sing the songs the way that she did when she first came to being at her elderly age. That was one of the things that for the movie they were saying it was very hard for people to mimic. The woman who played her, I think it was, I can't remember her name. Anyway,
in her 60s.
but anyway, that was the thing.
quite-
Her voice, her voice wasn't changed. So I'm curious to see how high she is.
Okay.
All right, so going down to number 44 is James Brown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a motherfucker.
Indeed.
And just the first sentence says, to call James Brown merely a singer seems like a vast understatement.
An entertainer extraordinaire.
He played with another band.
Maceo Parker's band as well. Maceo Parker's band.
What was the name of his band? The Flames?
JBs.
The famous
The JBs.
Flames?
Hang
No.
on, wait a second. How did you get to the Flames and Todd got the JBs?
Because he was formerly of the DAPs, the JBs, and the Famous Flames. So
There you
he
go.
was with a few
Oh,
different
hold on. Number 43,
Oh, sorry. We're moving on from James. Sorry.
Ariana Grande.
I can't. I don't
feel like
know
this
her.
is a mouse among men.
If I
don't
knew
know
a
enough
lot
about her,
I would
but-
shit on this choice, but I really don't. So
I don't know
What's
enough
her
about her. to
what's her top? I know I've heard her song. What's her top song? I just want to kind of get a measure of her voice.
So it says, with a whistle tone that rivals Mariah Carey in her prime.
Oh, okay. If we're comparing to Mariah Carey, I'm not sure she belongs in the top 50.
In her
Side
prime.
to side,
Mary
side
Bob,
to
Bob.
side.
In her prime. In her prime. Mariah
Prime.
Carey has a place. She hit a home. She set the league rushing record a year. You got to give her that.
All right.
She was the best of the best.
Todd,
So it's
in her
for-
top songs, it lists like 3 songs, Side to Side, Into You, and Dangerous Woman from the Dangerous Woman album in 2016.
But I think what they're talking about is probably vocal range, pitch, how your voice ages, and things like that.
She's young still, though.
They're probably not looking at someone like Daryl Hall or John Oates.
I think she gets aged out of this list 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't know. They don't know enough about her, because she's too young. All right, so moving right past it. Oh man, number 42, Teddy Pendergrass.
Yep.
I don't think Ariana Grande fits
It's in the same.
in the middle of all these legends. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, actually, it's gonna. When I go back out to the fire, I'm gonna turn on some Ariana Grande and see if her voice moves me. Ultimately, that's the thing. It's like I don't think we listen to enough of her stuff. It's not our style. I don't think that's a concert where none of us would be at. I think.
But you know what?
And for that very reason, we're making judgment calls on not having taken in the library.
But I don't even care about that. I'm not even listening to that. I don't care about the editorializing of any of that because they have not gotten to the point that these ladies or these men have gotten to in their lives, have aged eloquently and still been able to sing, and that's what they're basing it on. And she's still very young and alive, and these people have all passed. So I don't think the control
Rod
is.
Stewart dead?
I don't think. What's that?
I said, is Rod Stewart dead?
No.
Tony
But
Braxton's not
I'm
dead.
saying she's surrounded. She's surrounded by, and I can only see these very old, black and white pictures of these amazing singers, and I know that we've watched them go from very in their 20s to
but
as old as they possibly could and die, and we're judging them on how their voice aged. So how do you look at someone?
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I think that's what I'm saying. I think you're making my point. I
Yeah.
think that because you haven't and because we wouldn't listen to her, we should do listen to her because her voice may be aged, even if she doesn't have another hit record or song ever. If she has range and does a thing, that's like Mariah Carey. I think she's not necessarily a one-hit wonder, but Mariah Carey was hitting notes and did a thing for in a very small sliver of time
Yeah.
that has propelled her for forever. Like literally, she was so brilliant for a fleeting moment that she still gets to sing the song, even though we know she can't sing it like she did at the beginning. And so, Ariana Grande might have that type of power that we're not, because we don't listen to her. We're not taking it in. So I'll give it up. I'm gonna trust.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, these are people that are much, I've said on many occasions, if, I was able to diagnose people with certain, I've said like, oh, you have all these symptoms. It seems like you have this. People are like, wow, that's really great. It kind of sounds like maybe I do have that. And I'm like, well, if my opinion actually mattered that much, I'd be getting paid a lot more money. So
no, but it's a personal thing. But I think ultimately we have to take it in before we can shit on it. We have to say, well, let's listen to the library. If I listen to 2 albums, I'm like, I'm not hearing anything in her voice or her vocal expression that moves me in any way, even if, like the music or not. There's tons of music that I'm like isn't on my go-to playlist, but I absolutely, because Teddy Pendergrass is that. He's not on my. There's a couple of songs of his that are on my go-to playlist. I don't play him. Todd, grab
a shot.
Sorry.
Todd, grab a shot.
No, we want you to talk, but we're just been holding.
But not
a
right
shot.
now.
I know you can't see, but we're holding a shot.
But not right
I feel repressed.
You are.
Let me repress you with this.
You're not repressed. You're oppressed.
I'm going to repress you with this mute button just a second, so we don't hear all the Legos.
But my thought process is that there are people that are. No,
I'd say you don't be quiet to do the shot.
I can do the shot while I'm talking. What I'm saying is there's a lot of people with much more specific education on this topic that we don't know what all goes into, how the fucking cake is made. And we're just kind of fucking peons guessing.
I just love the passion.
Put yourself in the peon category.
That Todd and Nick are like, butting heads over who,
Not at all.
We're not actually.
Right on the same page.
In a friendly way. There's no fights in a friendly way, but I love the passion. That's all
we're trying. We're both driving down the same path, and we're trying to understand where it's going to take us. That's all.
Todd, you said you were going to check out Ariana Grande tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Turn it on the TV and watch her music videos, and just put it on mute.
All right, so this is a very slow roll. So let's go on to number 41, which is Etta James.
Oh yeah, just like Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At last.
Yeah.
God.
Wow, dude, this blows me away. Number 40, Aaliyah.
I've
I've
heard she was. I just don't have
that.
any exposure to. I've heard she's fantastic.
That's it.
But just there was only a small point in time that we even experienced.
She had a short career, yeah.
I think her demise is what
you think it's playing into.
Brings her up on that list.
How low in this list?
I've heard tons of songs where they've sampled her music, and she is moving in everything that she's ever done. I don't know of the mechanics of how the voices are done, but everything that I've ever heard of hers is really, really good. Whether you like the music or not, her voice is powerful, very powerful.
Yeah, and I think that Cory's saying that probably the potential that was lost when she died may be playing a part into how high or close to number one she's been placed in this list, which is tough to argue with. It's just a natural. It's a natural thing.
This just blows me away because I'm very curious as to how close we get to number one, who these people are going to be, because we have some
heavy hitters.
We have some questionables, and we have some very heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Right after Aaliyah, who was very recent for us. I mean, late 90s, we have Louis Armstrong, which to me, you have a heavy hitter like Louis Armstrong, and you have Ella Fitzgerald. In a lot of songs, they sing together.
Yeah, that was back in the day.
I guess I don't know how much range either one of them had.
Louis Armstrong played an instrument.
Brilliant.
He wasn't just a singer. He played an instrument.
Yeah,
and
he also
led a band.
Trumpet.
Yeah, and he led his band. So his band would bring in singers like Ella Fitzgerald to sing with them. I'm totally making this up. I assume that it's true, but there's probably I'm taking a lot of liberties with what I'm saying here.
You are
feel
taking
like
some liberties. Man.
So why don't you shut up and I'll
somebody
just read
should
it.
somebody should
Alrighty.
fact check this. Who's the fact checker?
So apparently me.
Nick. From what I've heard, it's Nick.
So I'll tell you right now, the modern era of American popular music begins with Louis Armstrong. His voice, with its instantly distinctive gravelly tone, was also immediately lovable, working equally to comic You Rascal You from 1931, the tragic effect. His Black and Blue from 1929 became the theme song. Moreover, his loose, sharp sense of swing utterly transformed pop's sense of rhythm, not just in the instrument, but also in the singing. Take a listen to this 50s studio outtake where he reaches Lottie Lenya, the singer who originated the song How to Swing, Back the Knife. Hear how eager she is to learn because she knew that she was learning from the best. And that's not even to mention the revolutionary trumpet playing that he did. So, I mean,
Nice.
I want to be honest with you. I really thought that whole thing was going to end with him looking at me going like, so what was it like to see Louis in concert?
so Louis
you tell us,
Armstrong.
Backstage passes.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna
He
have
signed my cummerbund.
to kind of echo that sentiment.
I was in the kitchen.
To echo that sentiment for you old people, you're gonna have to fill me in on the blanks on this one. Number 38, Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah. Superfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sang the theme
I'm
song for Superfly. The movie.
Yeah. I'm surprised that he's this high, but I'm not.
I am
it
too.
Doesn't shock me.
I am too, but he was for black singers in the 70s, he was at the top of that mountain. So
I'm gonna tell you right now, Todd. People of color are dominating right now.
as they should.
I mean, it's not a joke. I'm saying like it's.
But
yeah.
the real trick is going to be
what's interesting. No,
ahead, Tom.
actually, here's the thing. I think at the beginning you're going to see. I think you haven't seen a bunch of my people who are not of color, like Adele. She's going to be in that. She's going to be up at the top.
I was just going to say, let's reserve judgment.
Harry Connick Jr.
Let's reserve judgment until we get to the top 10, Todd, because I feel like it's going to be chock-a-block with white folks who have stolen black music. Elvis is going to be in there. We're not going to see Carl Perkins or Chuck Berry in the top 10. I feel,
Ladies and gentlemen,
it just is going to be what it is. You know,
all right.
CeeLo Green.
At this rate, we're not going to see the top 10.
That is true. We got about 9 minutes left.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
All right.
number 37 on the top 100, Van Morrison.
Yeah.
I love Van Morrison,
yeah.
but I feel like most times I'm the only one.
No. Crazy Love, man, and I love him with one of my favorite songs of all time is him and Ray Charles together. Because Ray's going to be on this. Ray's still coming. I know.
This kind of blows me away. Number 36, Kurt Cobain.
Look, there's no bigger Kurt Cobain fan than I am. He was very squarely. I grew up with him being the number one influential musician of my life.
I was going to say, to me,
I'm not sure he deserves a spot that high as a singer.
I wouldn't say as the vocals. As a movement, yes.
As a musician,
let's let Rolling Stone explain.
Okay.
Oh,
Real
yes,
quick.
that's what I was hoping for.
I mean, we're all much
8
morons.
minutes, buddy. 8 minutes.
That is true. We are.
Yeah, because I'm actually not pushing back that hard.
All right, so
again, I could feel.
So here we go. Kurt Cobain's voice was a sound at war with itself, often harsh to the point of being grotesque, but resolutely melodic, even though at its ugliest point. It's a blend born out of his diverse vocal influences, from the twee sing-song of the Vaseline's Eugene Kelly and Francis McKee to the wounded snarl of the whispers of Greg Sage. The result was a voice that could find the hooks buried within the caustic noise metal of School or Breed and expose the razor blade at the center of the grunge pop apple of Drain You or In Bloom. For me, it was always the voice that blew me away. Deer Tick's John McCauley, who has covered Nirvana with the band's surviving members, told Rolling Stone, "I'd heard people with gravelly voices, but Kurt's was absolutely more different. It's not a pretty voice. He was not a trained singer by any means, but it gave us all hope."
I think we just need to email the author and tell him to ease up on the words there for you.
Dude, I'm so hard trying to fucking get through this fucking paragraph.
That sounds like a music critic's biased opinion on how important Kurt Cobain is. And I think at the end of the day, when you compare it against all these other singers, it's really difficult to justify
see him that high,
putting
that
him
low,
above Ella Fitzgerald.
I don't agree with it.
That's true.
I don't agree with it at all.
I'm not surprised that his name's in the list, but yeah, he's in the wrong. He's in the wrong spot.
I don't agree with it at all because I feel like we're talking about people who have had a lifetime of music versus someone who died in their 20s. You know, he's not blowing it out of the park. Where he's got a very small discography in regards to like his songs and everything that he's done. And you have people that have a lifetime of music, so I don't think that's appropriate.
Again, I think
but
that's
an unfair comparison because I think how many people have listened to Ella Fitzgerald? I think I know that my nieces and nephews have never listened to him.
I think that goes back to my original point. It's as a movement in music, he was huge, but as a writer and artist, he was taken very, very. His reign ended too soon.
Released. Well, but his voice was moving. I think these guys are saying the best singers, and his voice, his his tendencies and the way that he sung moved people. I think that's why I'm not surprised he's on the list. And again, we are all biased towards the sounds that we like, and nobody's saying that it's beautiful, but his control of what he had and the influence he made with that voice, because no matter what, you can be passionate as hell. If your voice sucks ass, you're not going to sell a gazillion records unless you're Milli Vanilli having other people sing for you, right?
And they're not saying like who made the most money or who had the most successful songs. Right. They're specifically talking about voices.
Yep.
And
so I can live with this, even though I think
he's too high.
I think too. It's not my profession to sit and judge and look at vocal tone and semantics and everything else that goes into what they're judging. But I would try to assume that something notable like Rolling Stone would be taking a lot of things into consideration with some people, with some people that are much more intelligent on this subject than we are. But I still think he is a mice among men in regards to who he's surrounded by. I don't think that's appropriate, but it is what it is. This is what they put out. So number 35 is Dusty Springfield.
Okay. Son of a preacher man. I get it. Yeah. She seems a little high to me, but
number 34, Tom York.
From Radiohead.
Pass.
He's the lead singer from Radiohead. He's done a few solo works, and then in The Smile, and what was the other one he did with Flea? There was another.
Don't look at me, buddy.
Yeah.
The way Bob's mind works in regards to music just blows me away. It really does.
When you think of like Michael Stipe from REM, or you think of any modern singer like Anthony Kiedis from the Chili Peppers, or Billy Corgan, who came about in the 90s in the Pumpkins. Tom York's the only guy left standing from them, and continues to be. He's a weird dude who has a really, really good voice that
there you go.
Unique sound that not everybody appreciates. And so I would,
they
as a big fan, I would still say he's high on this list.
But they may be really leaning into unique voices. They may be leaning into,
I'm going to be mad if Lauryn Hill isn't on this list.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's all about comparison, right? And what you've been exposed to.
Yeah.
If I heard Lauryn Hill was going to be higher than Etta James, I would say I think this is bullshit.
But Kurt Cobain's higher than Etta James, so
Yeah, and I disagree with that as well. And I grew up with Kurt Cobain. I didn't grow up with Etta James.
yeah.
I learned about Etta James later. And I had to appreciate her, but I think it's wrong.
Number 33, Bessie Smith.
Blues. She's got to be blues.
Pass.
With a name like Bessie.
Said the road to the
Or
queen
country.
the road to the Queen of Soul and beyond begins with the Empress of the Blues. Bessie Smith's Uptown Blues of the 1920s and 30s made her Mahalia Jackson's favorite singer.
Mahalia Jackson?
Yeah.
Mahalia Jackson. Yeah.
Inspired
Yeah.
Daniel Washington to cut the tribute album to her and move Janis Joplin to purchase a headstone for her grave. Whether disclaiming intimately her downhearted blues or belting Tain't Nobody's Business If I Do, with joyous agency, Smith sounds like a big sister to Lizzo's shout and Rihanna's moan, ancestor to any and all singers who glitter like royalty while still keeping it down to earth.
What number did you just read?
This is number 33.
33.
What was her last name again? Bessie who?
Bessie Smith.
She's going to be on my list tonight as well.
Can I just make a statement here and then
Yeah.
we can maybe cut it at 33 and pick it up again in another episode?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So let me just say that if you've ever seen School of Rock, the movie, in School of Rock, Jack Black goes up to the blackboard and he makes a history of rock, and it's a diagram of how who's at the top and which bands connect to which and which genres connect to which and how they're connected, and it's a pretty impressive diagram that I'm sure Jack Black could have made in his sleep. But the fact is that there is such a diagram that you could make for every genre that's out there. And Bessie Smith is a titan of the blues. I knew her name, but I'm like, oh man, I don't know what she sings. Just a quick Google search tells me that she sang Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, which was covered by Eric Clapton in the late 90s. She sang I Ain't Got Nobody, which was covered by many, many different bands, including David Lee Roth, including Louis Prima. And so I feel like, without really knowing much about Bessie Smith, she was a titan of the blues that really laid the track for everything that came after that.
It probably didn't get
Even
a lot
people
of
that
credit.
gave.
I want to hear now though, because she's her
hold on.
voice. I'm sorry, her voice.
Yeah, I haven't heard it either, and I want to, but this is my point, and then I'll step back. If you've been listening to this episode and you're like, I don't know who that person is, or I've never heard them, take the time in between, after having listened to this episode, to go and listen to some of the, what either Google or Apple Podcasts or Apple Music says about what are their top songs, and just kind of educate yourselves about it, because you may discover that there's somebody that you really like that you never heard of before. And when it comes to the blues is a very tricky genre, because unless you're a student of the blues, most people don't know anything about blues singers, and they hear singers' names and like, oh, I've heard that person before, but very likely they've never heard anything that they've sang. So it takes a bit of work to go back, and maybe you'll get a better appreciation for the blues or for soul or R&B or whatever it is, but without going back and actually doing the work and being curious, you're never going to have it, and you really can't even. It's tough because there's nothing you can really say about it. So I would encourage you to do that, and hopefully this episode has given you a little bit of guidance in broadening your horizons. So
hey Bob, I want to second that, and I'll be really quick. That I actually heard the "Don't Take Your Guns to Town" by Johnny Cash, and I'd heard like "Ring of Fire," but when I heard "Don't Take Your Guns to Town," it so hooked me that I downloaded every bit of music, and he is in my top 10 artists of all time. Love Johnny Cash, and have every song I have every song that's on digital media of his. So I second what you just said, Bob.
100%, yeah. Johnny Cash.
I love to be seconded.
Legend.
Especially by me.
Oh, always,
third
my
toast.
dad. Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to take things one piece at a time.
Word.
So, Nick Bader, thank you for running through all those. We hit the 50 through 33 and the top singers of all time. There will be an episode coming up in which we will pick it up where we left off and try to walk through the rest of it. And hopefully you will follow us in that journey and that you enjoy what you've heard. And if you have, let us know at 618-SHOCKER or at schnozzcast@gmail.com, or find us out on the social media services where you can follow us and give us a like and a rating and a subscribe. And we can't wait to see you again next weekend. And with that, we are going to end the episode for this week. On behalf of Cory, Nick, and Todd, this is Bob saying we'll see you again very, very soon.